All right, and we'll all stand. We'll begin the city meeting at 6. Man, we get out of here pretty quick. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord Jesus, again, we come to you humbly and we're thankful that you've allowed us to be in a position to represent our beautiful town. We ask for your will and way be done in every decision made. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank everybody for coming out. Board, let the minutes reflect, recorder, that Miss Maynard won't be here tonight. She's got sickness in her family.
Death in her family.
Death in her family, I'm sorry. So she won't be here, so we'll reflect that. So at this time, we'll have the reading of the minutes.
The Saltillo Board of Aldermen met August 2nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the City Hall for the regular monthly meeting. The meeting was called to order by Mayor Lowry, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation was given by Alderman Reeves. In attendance were Mayor Lowry and Alderman Billings, Maynard, Morgan, Reeves, and Wood. The minutes were read with a motion to approve from Alderman Reeves. Second motion by Alderman Morgan. The minutes were approved as read. The Mayor and Board were provided with a copy of the Expense and Revenue Report for July 2022. Old business number 1, Siren Grant. 2 bids were received totaling $84,858 and 1 bid totaling $64,437. After receipt of the bids, it was found that the erection of new poles were included on 1 bid, which was not included in the original bid letting. This resulted in a rejection of the bids. Additional specifications were added to include siren repair/replacement, along with the recommended solar system to prevent an interruption in the case of lightning strikes. The inability to access the pole at City Hall has also caused a portion of the rebid. These additional specs will cause a delay of an additional 2 months pending approval by Economic and Community Development approving the Lotus system, solar panels, and new pole installation. Number 2, complaints. Alderman Wood asked for a clarification of the complaint process. A general discussion ensued. Number 3, boat dock repairs. Alderman Maynard presented an estimate to make repairs to the boat dock, including replacing handrails. A motion was made by Alderman Maynard to accept a bid of $3,309.39 to make repairs. A second motion was made by Alderman Morgan. Alderman Wood, Maynard, Billings, and Morgan voted yes. Alderman Reeves voted no. The motion passed. New business number 1, complaint on property located on Shoreline Drive. Complaint forms were received regarding a property located on Shoreline Drive. Chief Young was not present to address the issue. Aldermen were encouraged to view the property in question along with Chief Young, who will receive a copy of the complaint prior to the September meeting. Number 2, additional bank signatures. Mayor Lowry advised an additional person needs to be added to the bank accounts. Currently, Vanita and Mayor Lowry are authorized signatures on the accounts. A motion was made by Alderman Reeves to add Vice Mayor Billings to the account. A second motion was made by Alderman Wood. Alderman Wood, Reeves, Maynard, and Morgan voted yes. Alderman Billings abstained. The motion passed. Number 3, poker run. Mayor Lowry complimented Stuart Grooms on a job well done. The poker run netted a profit of approximately $3,100. Number 4, River Landing parking lot. The parking lot was restriped by TDOT. Number 5, mural. Becky Carter is painting the mural on the Holland House building. The city obtained permission from the property owner for this endeavor. Number 6, banners for downtown area. Discussion was tabled until the September meeting. Number 7, community center. May Brewer advised the toilet was out of order at the community center. Don Martin will be contacted for repairs. With no additional business to discuss, a motion was made by Alderman Reeves and seconded by Alderman Wood to adjourn the meeting. The motion carried and the meeting was adjourned by Mayor Lowry.
You've heard the reading of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as read?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Alderman Reeves, second. Second by Alderman Morgan. Discussion? No discussion. Alderman Billings?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes, sir.
Wood?
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved as read for August 2022. At this time, we'll go ahead and proceed with old and new business, and I'll turn this off, I'm sorry. That's pertaining to the minutes. Let me get this thing. I took a picture of myself. Okay, the siren grant, of course, relating back to the siren grant, Saltillo was approved for 2 sirens. The grant was total $116,000 with the city putting in $16,000 as a matching fund. On our last bid, the bid came in actually at $64,000, but because they couldn't access the pole here, and the company that had come and reviewed the pole had put in the bids for 2 new poles. And the environmental that was sent to ECD didn't have the 2 poles on there, so they suggested that we rebid it with the 2 new poles, where every company that's bidding would have the same opportunity to bid on the same product. So, but I think that was good for the city, for the purpose of that. We're now trying to make sure, we have a lightning that keeps coming in on the sirens, and it's shooting the battery packs and stuff, and that was a big problem, shooting the boards. Now they've got new technology where the batteries are powered by solar, and also they have a loader system to where it can be injected at 911 at Savannah. And not only can 911 set it on, or the city of Saltillo, but the weather channel, they can set it off too. So if you get an alert on your phone, it would activate the sirens. The present program they have up there, if Savannah get a storm and we don't get a storm, our sirens are still activated. They're activated all over. This would segregate those activations to where we wouldn't have any false alarms if we can obtain that system. So we also applied, since we was redoing the environmental, we applied to ECD to include that in it. And if that project do come, we'll still have a matching fund. But we think instead of 16,000, to be somewhere in the vicinity of 10, 11,000. But we're not sure as to what the bids would be on the next bid. But we should be able to rebid that again. I think that we got some of the environmental letters back, I believe. Mm-hmm. We had to send out 10 environmental letters to the fire department, to Cherokee Nation,
the Indian tribe,
to different people to get it cleared. So I think that we'll probably be able to rebid that in November. But still, the grant is done. Saltillo is going to get 2 new sirens. And I'm hoping that we're successful in convincing ECD to allow us to interject the solar panels as well as the loader system into that project. Okay, is anybody got any questions on sirens? Okay, the complaint, Alderman Wood, okay, clarification on complaint. Okay, I think she and I both got an email from Ronnie Neal, MTAS, and he stated that myself nor the board, once we appointed Kenny Young as the codes officer or the deputy fire marshal, he's responsible for making those decisions, okay? So what we'll do from this point forward is, as soon as we get the complaints, they'll be forwarded to Deputy Fire Marshal, Fire Chief Young, and then he can relate to the board as to his decision. But we do have some follow-up on that, but I'm gonna wait till the end of the meeting here so we can discuss. We're gonna go on forward with that right now. Okay, on boat dock repairs, the boat dock, the railing going down to the boat dock, of course, it's been through 2 or 3 floods, and it's been there a while. So Ms. Maynard did obtain permission from the board to go ahead and repair that. I went and looked at it, also to put the fire hose around the dock. I think it looks real good. I think it complements what we're trying to do to our town. And that money, to a few of the people that I talked to, well, you know, the tax money. That money will eventually be reiterated into the general fund from the pandemic grant, okay? So I think we still got 38,000 left from the police car and the fire truck that we spent. I believe it's a little over 38,000 still in there, but what I'm looking at is we did use about 20,000 out of the general fund to assist with the street repairs, and we took 20,000 out of the street fund. and we didn't have that much in it, so we couldn't deplete that. So, some of those money will be recuperated to the general fund once the board can, we need to get all these projects done, then we can look at it, then we can decide, and we're supposed to get another 76,000 in October. Okay, so we didn't get the whole fund, so I know we had talked previously about doing ditching and culverts and getting the street out of that fund, so it was a blessing that we got it. Do you have any discussion on what we just discussed? Okay, if
I
not,
think the boat dock looks, the railing looks more secure than it ever has on the boat dock. So I
okay.
think that was money well spent.
Okay, moving right along, complaint on Shoreline Drive, that same complaint is 2 of old business, so we're gonna relate back to that here shortly. Alderman Billings, did you get a chance to sign on the checking?
I was told by Ms. Jackson that I had to wait till these minutes
Right,
were
to approve the minutes.
So I go this week.
Okay, we'll have to approve these minutes, that is correct.
Right,
And you can take these minutes with you.
yeah.
Okay, all right, the poker run netted $3,100, and the $3,100 was generated by Alderman Groom, that's great. Becky Carter's painting a sign on the side of the building downtown. I think it looks real good. Those funds don't come from taxpayer either, they will be used $1,000 from fundraiser, okay? So and that's what she's charging, I believe she said $1,000 for painting. So that
So
was,
the money from the poker run goes to pay for the sign and the, or is that what you said?
I'm saying that the money from the poker run, it goes into,
River
for
front
fundraising.
run?
Well,
Oh,
it's
for
not-
fundraisers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we don't, I don't think that, I mean, as mayor, I have never, I mean, the fund, whether it would be from the poker run or from, River Day, we put it in the park fund, and then wherever it's needed in town, we try to use it to improve the beauty of the town. And that's where the flowers came from, the flower pots and all that, the fundraising money. People are a little particular about, even though they like their town to be beautified, they're a little particular about how you get the money to do it. So we do it with fundraising. Now, let me say this right here, there is, I mean, there ain't no secrets in this. You can always, we put that money in parks, and sometimes we'll get a little bit lower parks, because we do pay maintenance men out of parks also. But we can transfer money from general fund to park funds. Just don't look good to transfer from parks to general. So if we get low on parks, we can still transfer money to that fund if it's validated. Okay, does it make sense? Okay, but we generally try to pay it out of fundraising money. And then too, when something come up that parks need, whether it's River Park or the downtown park, if we don't have enough, then we can vote to put money from the general fund into the park fund to cover that project. Okay, any discussion on that? So Miss Becky Carter actually is being, so that's gonna leave about 2,100 in there that can be used for something else. I don't know if,
I can't believe, that is amazing that she would do that for $1,000. Because I have sold her paintings for $800. That's, just a
well,
painting.
it's,
That's a lot of work for $1,000.
yeah, but it's about a person wanting to help the town.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what, I mean, we all do.
right,
Yeah.
right,
I
right.
mean,
That was awesome.
okay, so, banners, now, we're gonna get down, and for those that, we do have an agreement signed by Ms. Morgan that even if she sells that building downtown, that mural will stay there for a minimum of 5 years. Okay, so that's in a written agreement, okay? Okay, so I don't know how long Becky painted, it looks so good, we should've put 10 years. But we didn't know, we figured we faded out, but she did put a covering on it, a sealant on
yeah.
it, to where if somebody do spray paint over it or something, that it can be wiped off without damaging the picture itself, okay? All right, so, is there?
Can I ask a question? Do we have any kind of camera or anything on that
We
to
do
know
not.
if somebody
No.
makes it
Ain't you got cameras in your store?
inside, but they don't go out, they don't reach across
Well,
the
just add
road?
another and let it point outdoors.
Yeah,
Greg, I sold them to
told
Greg,
you.
but he's got a camera pointing at the city park over there.
I'm telling you, you can put a camera on my building anytime you want
Okay,
to.
okay, well, that's,
But I do think we probably should think about having a camera, looking at that mural, because that's a big deal. Yeah,
well, we'll take this up later on.
Okay,
The
whatever,
board might
yeah.
wanna just hire to put an extra camera in your store if you're
that's
allowed.
good. You put it in
Well,
my
that's
store,
cheap.
out the store, whatever you
I
want.
mean, hook it to your video
That's
system,
right.
right? Yeah,
That's good.
Good. All right. See, that way we can cover downtown, because like I say, at the store that are so great, it's got a camera pointing right at the city park. You can see Main Street, you can see the whole park.
But going down that road, 60, you know,
Yeah, but when you.
that corner, turning that corner.
Oh, yeah, but if you put one in your store,
Yeah,
that
you
would
wouldn't have
cover
any
that.
problem, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move right along. So now that covers old and new business pertaining to the minutes. Does the board have any discussion pertaining to the old and new business? If not, we're gonna move right along pretty quickly here. And, on finishing up the street project, of course, we had to do the budget and all. Now, we had two culverts that, we put in that is supposed to be paid for by the landowner. One was Chance Jackson, one was Joe Joyner. And I think Alderman Billings negotiated that with Joe Joyner. And, we're gonna need to send them a bill for those culverts. I think on the bill it was $300 each. Since they agreed to it, I guess we just need to go ahead and bill that so we can
Move along.
be out in the clear. So I'll have the city recorder, she can look on time, we'll get them a bill sent out. Does anybody got any discussion on that?
Just a note for Joe Joyner, there were two covers put in, but what we agreed on was he would pay for one and the city would pay for one.
Right.
So,
And that, I think they done when I went around town looking at where they paid and where they fixed, I think they done an excellent job. And I think it cost us $40,000 for all the paving, the ditching, and the culverts they put in. I think they put in 4, 5, 6 culverts somewhere in that area, but I thought that might have been, I said, wow, that there it might be, but when I went over to Dwayne's and looked at his, what he had done for $26,000, man, we got a bargain. I mean, we got a real bargain, I think, so. Anyway, they done a good job. Have any, board have any complaints or anything about that job, anything? I'm sure
No, I think
y'all-
they did a good job, but I do, next time we have anything, I would hope we would remember to put in there about the few places, at the city downtown park and by my store building.
Well, now-
That was, what was low that you had said we would do next time, we just forgot this
Right, that
time.
there's gonna be a little complicated, because when you're paving over something and it's already smooth, it's gonna make a puddle somewhere else. I don't know how they'll be able to do it, but.
I'm
but
sure
I
they'll
think
figure it
that-
out.
Yeah, I mean.
They do that all the time, you
Well,
know.
I don't know, I see low places everywhere.
Well,
you know.
the two parking spots back there,
Uh,
you know, you step out of your car on either side of your
I
car.
think the only thing they'd have to be able to do is just pave over.
I
like
think
they
so
did
too.
down
I think
here
that's
now.
it.
They'd have to do that to level it
Maybe
off,
we can
but-
remember that next time.
Okay, and well, there's an, I'll get on to that too, so you can bring that back up here shortly. Let's keep on going. The electrical, okay, River Day. Now, I hadn't heard nothing about River Day. I don't know, I'm sure the River Day committee's got their act together on what you're gonna do, and I did see a note here where somebody said, well, somebody's supposed to contact the mayor about this and about that, but ain't nobody contacted me, so I'm hoping that y'all got that together now.
Well, I was gonna talk to you tonight when we get done with this meeting, what we do, everything we discussed, I was gonna fill you in,
Okay.
so.
All right, so, but now, as far as the barbecue festival at the river, now, you know, we agreed to host the barbecue festival. So the lady emailed me and said they'd like to have the electric and the water together by the 10th.
September 10th,
Yes, ma'am.
that's
what's the day?
Friday,
That's Friday.
Friday the 10th.
Okay. So we went ahead and agreed to that.
Saturday the 10th.
Now, what I did back in May, as an electrician, I knew you can't find those 200 amp disconnects, so they needed 400 amps. So I went ahead and we purchased those, and they've been in the city hall here since then. But I just want to relate to the board that I had my helper and we went ahead and built those services and put them down there on the river, and they're hooked up, the meters are already in them. Made arrangement with Omi Patel, that the guys that own the river landing, cause it's not a water meter down there, but they agreed to let us use their water meter. And we'll have to pay $75 to get the meter turned on, and I'm in the process now of putting a hydrant in the ground to where they can hook to it. And then after the thing there, then, I mean, it'll still be there, but I put a shut off between the building and the hydrant where you can shut the building off and use the hydrant. If they wanna use the building, they can shut the hydrant off and turn the building back on. I'll leave both of them on. But I went ahead and initiated that, and, talk about Becky Carter, hey, cost me money out of my pocket to build those things. I mean, the city did pay for most of the material, but I had to pay my helper, cause I didn't want that to be a conflict with me getting any money or anything, cause that wouldn't be right. So anyway, the 400 amp services is our own. At the Lexington Electric, I wanna compliment them too. They came and put a new pole in for us, put a 50-foot pole with a transformer on it, and then they came back because I couldn't get up that high, and they came back and hung the risers for us. They had to be within 2 feet of the transformer, so those risers had to be about 25 feet up in the air. So they came back and hung those for us. We got them inspected, and they're ready to go. Okay, so you guys got River Day together, and I got them down there together, so we should be moving on. Nathan, we'll talk after the meeting. Okay, so the sign on the building, do we want to go ahead and agree to go ahead and pay Becky that $1,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
We hadn't got the invoice yet, but when they do, we'll go ahead and pay her that. And it will come out of park fund, which will come out of the $3,100 that was raised for the poker run. Okay, and we have to do that or something, we can do it through the future. Okay, so I think it looks good.
You
Okay,
know, another thing you say, you know, of course, having been in business where you have to buy, pictures, etc., for her to allow us to use that, her painting also toward our t-shirts, you know, without payment, was a big deal too.
okay, all right, the fire truck, that's needed the carburetor on it and stuff, it's been repaired. Okay, and, the guy at Savannah, it cost us $200 to get the carburetor, and then had to put some vacuum lines on it, but we got it back together, and then the guy rebuilt the carburetor. We had the kit already, but he built it for $70. So anyway, the fire truck is running, ready to go. He said if you just drive it, put a little new gas in it and drive it, it should be fine. So the truck is ready to go. All right, the boat dock is complete, striping at the river is complete, the electric for the barbecue festival is complete. Banners for Main Street now. Greg, did they give you a time frame as far as how long it takes to make those?
They did initially when we started all this. It was like 3 to 4 weeks for the small banners, and the big ones might be up to 6 weeks depending on material and how things are around the country right now. This company is out of Arkansas. Most of the products made in America. But they did send me an email back a few days ago that if we plan to move forward, we'd have to rebid because the bid was older than, the quote was older than 30 days, so we'll have to call them back, make sure it's still the same. They just sent an updated quote, so it's not really a big deal to do that, but we just need to decide what we want to do and which way we
Well,
want
I think that, personally, I feel that the smaller banners, we're just replacing them. They've been there for several years.
Yeah, and they are quite a bit cheaper. You don't have to buy the brackets and
I
all
mean, if the
that.
board don't want to approve the other banners tonight, I hope that someone will make a motion, they would approve at least replacing the ones that's there.
Well, I would
You know,
suggest,
but-
let me make a motion. I would make a motion to purchase 18 banners to replace the 9 that are there and have 8 to cycle through, and depending on the season. So you would have some ability to change a couple. You wouldn't have to change them all, but the banner itself is not that expensive. And
Well, if we're gonna do that, the money that it's gonna cost to have extra banners there, look like we could just put toward buying the whole set. that we talked about, you know, because,
Whole set meaning what?
well, the flags that we had on the poles for Veterans Day and all that,
I like
they're ready, but they're ready for the garbage.
Well, we need to buy.
Well, I mean,
Whatever.
it's up to y'all if you want, but what we looked at, what he had looked at was some banners that they look like flags, but they're banners. But, I think that we need to, if we wanna get the flags, then let's just get the small banners and another set of flags like we had.
I think that's a good idea.
I like that because the flags that we had and the way they hang, they make me think of small town. It doesn't look commercialized and, you know.
How many did you, it was 13, Greg, was it, how many
I
big
said eight.
I
flags?
think the flags with the brackets and all that stuff, I think there were 14, that were in the.
No, I'm talking about what they're talking about is just a regular flag, but we just counting the poles.
Well, I think it was 13, but I think we just put 14 on the bid.
Right.
If you just look at the quote, I think if you're just talking about an actual flag and a pole, or you're talking about getting a flag and not the pole.
Well,
Talking
no,
about
no,
using the pole.
We're talking about
you know,
reusing the poles that we have and
Well,
just getting new flags.
no,
No?
those poles.
They're raggedy.
They're
The
raggedy.
poles are
The
too?
pole
Yeah,
itself,
they-
some of them have been
was
pieced together by
conduit.
maintenance people. Our maintenance people have put them together the best they could to make them last through the,
These years.
yeah, these years. So, but to replace the flag with a similar pole, I would have to get a new quote on that because when we were doing our quotes.
Well, we could
they were-
probably buy them anywhere, those flags.
I think you can, pending the diameter of the pole. I think that aluminum pole is different than some of the,
Can you see?
commercialized poles around like Lowe's and stuff like that. But again, I would suggest just, if we want to tonight, and I don't have the quote from it, I had to request a new quote, but the banners themselves, without the bracket's where the money is. So when you start talking about poles and brackets, that's where the money goes up. Just the banners themselves, for like what's on Main Street currently, it's not a major expense. I think they're like maybe $25 a piece for the banner. I hadn't looked at the quote in a few days, but I would go back and say, I would just do that first, and the next thing coming up for Flag Day or so forth, we're a little ways away from needing that as of tonight. I just, you know, so the next, American holiday is,
Be November.
it'll be November the 11th.
Okay, so what we'll do is let's just,
The Veterans Day. that's
let's just
fine.
go ahead and table this to the next meeting.
Well,
and
what
we-
about, let's just make a motion for him to go ahead and buy the small banners.
Yeah, so we can get those up.
Yeah,
So we
we
can
can
get
do
those
that.
up because they look kinda ratty.
Okay,
So I make
so
a motion that we
replace.
I think I-
replace
I think
the
it's-
small banners.
Greg's got the motion on,
Yeah.
Greg's
So we'll
Oh,
take
okay,
it.
Yeah.
all right.
we need a
Well,
second.
All right,
Second
it's
that.
been motioned by Alderman Billings that we replace the banners on the standing street post light that's in town, that's already there, just to replace them. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, do we have a money limit, or do we wanna know that he'll get the best price? And
Well, he had a he
Okay, he had a quote on it.
quote before.
Yeah, we
So
had a
it'd be
previous
similar.
quote that was,
Okay.
turned
So
in,
we're-
but it'd be close to that.
It'd be close
I'm
to
saying they're $25 a piece in that neighborhood just for the banner themselves. I may be telling you a little high,
Well,
okay.
but I can,
now, he talked about ordering a few more, do you wanna get the others too, or
Yeah.
just?
well,
Okay.
is there an advantage to buying more than 12 or?
no, not really. If you get the stock vinyl print, which means you can customize it to some degree, that they're much more economical than if you get a completely customized print. So if we wanted to take Miss Carter's sign and put that on a piece of vinyl, that is a custom print. But they do have stock designs that you can modify a little bit.
Well,
So
all
if-
those up there now, all those up there now is
Are
stock.
stock,
Yeah.
They're
yeah,
stock.
Well, they're stock with some
modification,
modification, like, there's one that says Hardin County up there.
yeah.
Well, that wasn't a stock one, that's just something they could image pretty quickly. And they run this stuff on a vinyl sheet, and they just cut it and sew it and print it right there, so it's really not that complicated to some degree to do a stock print with some modifications.
Okay, so we got a motion, we got a second to replace the the banners that's already existing, and for him to get an additional seasonal banners.
Right.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second, we'll now vote. Alderman Billings,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Reeves.
Yes.
Alderman Wood.
Yes.
Okay, so it's been motion second and voted to replace those, and then at the next meeting, we'll look at the flags. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move right along.
Mayor, just, you may want to decide on who's picking the design. I can get the quote and all that kind of stuff, but that's the next thing, the design.
Well,
So, you know.
last time I picked the design,
I know.
so,
That-
you know, I trust your judgment, you know, if you're gonna order, you know, it's up to you, you know.
I'd
So
say,
what,
I'd
what
say
about I
you pick
send the
design
aldermen
instead of-
some ideas?
That'd be a good
Instead of
idea.
me, I'm not gonna pick them. I think, like you say, I'm gonna leave it to the board to decide.
All right.
Okay, so I'll send some ideas and then they'll decide.
Okay, okay, so
When will you
now,
be able to get those in and up
They say 3 to 4 weeks delivery.
for a month?
What we have,
well,
This is
now,
that's October.
he's gotta send a proof to you guys, so, you know, it's
Yeah.
add another.
Mid-October.
Yeah, once we say we're gonna order it with this company, they know we're a city, they're looking, they don't ask us for a lot of extra paperwork. They send us a
Okay.
quote, we approve it, they put them in production, they send them to us.
Okay, all right, so he's gonna send all you aldermen a proof of what's gonna be, okay, so now, police. Now, everybody's been talking about police and they want, now, we've got the opportunity, and of course, Billy Franks has been working, but he work odd hours. Do we wanna give, I told him before I could give him some hours, I mean, I've been working him on holidays or like at River Day or something like that. But he's asking for a few hours, if he could get them anytime, we'd let him work.
Has he
At
retired
night.
yet?
Uh,
Has he retired yet?
he's fixing to retire.
When?
October, I reckon is what he told me, and that's what but I told him I presented to the board. Now, we don't have to vote on this tonight, but, if you wanna wait till he retire, but he just wanna know if we'll give him some hours when he retire.
Would he be
And he's
ready-
willing to work nights.
And on the weekends,
Yes.
Friday or Saturday? Yeah.
Friday and Saturday?
Well, I don't know, that's
Either
gonna be up to
one
you
of
guys,
them.
you know,
Yeah.
but I,
is he,
yeah,
is he
now I
willing
did
to
tell him.
work on weekends?
Oh, yeah, because I told him up front now, and Stephen told him too, you know, we don't need him to work when Stephen works.
No.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we don't need him at all.
Right.
You know, we need him from Thursday through Sunday, one of those days. But I did tell him that he would have the option to, come in different days, you know, just that way nobody knows between Thursday and Sunday, you know, at night, but, okay,
But
so,
he'll always be working nights?
yes.
So nights means what? Like
From-
7 to 7?
No, from about 5 in the evening to maybe 11 at night, 12 at night. See, okay, so put that in your, memory bank there and but I will tell him though that you're willing to offer him some hours when he retires. Okay, but now I will be working him some even though he ain't retired. You understand that? I don't work him much, but on sometime like.
Well, when we have to have him.
Yeah, right, River Day we'll need him, and then, and he has called me, like I think he called me last Thursday or Friday and wanted to work a few hours, and it was night, so I approved that, so.
I think anytime on a Friday or Saturday night, if he's wanting to work now.
I would say that,
I'd
Yeah.
be
yeah.
glad to have him.
Okay,
I think, yeah, Friday,
All right.
Saturday, and Sunday night.
right, okay. Well, you know, you don't wanna make church people mad, now they out on Sunday.
Well,
They
I mean,
drive
church
faster
people
than
need,
anybody.
church people need to obey the law, I'm sure they do.
Okay, so, okay, so we got, let me see, I got that. and we got
Don't
that.
they?
They should, but
I think she was talking about herself.
I was talking about.
Okay, so now, let me get on down, we're gonna get ready, the fundraiser for, I can't think of it, what is it, Dawson Harrington? Dawson Street.
Street.
Okay, it's gonna be this Saturday at 10 o'clock, and they're needing cabbage, buns, 11 o'clock, and they're needing some food stuff, you know, they need cabbage, they need buns, desserts.
Well,
And Miss Tammy Robinson is the one that's heading that, but you can drop off, if you got some stuff, you can drop it off here at City Hall if you need to, and if Anita, she's
well,
she'll
House
make
of
sure.
Hope has, I forgot to bring it with me, House of Hope made a $500 donation. So,
Maybe we'll buy
I'll
some
drop,
of that stuff.
I'll drop it off, or
Miss
whatever,
Tammy, you know.
yeah.
Okay. But we hope everybody come out and support, Dawson Shreve is the one that had the wreck in front of Jerry Smith's house and messed both his legs up, and they still say he's having a hard time, but, I mean, it'd be beneficial. So this gonna be Saturday morning, September the 10th at 11 a.m. at the water department, the
Oh,
bank
bank.
downtown. Right. Okay. All right. Anybody got any comment? I mean, anybody on the board got any discussion for what we covered? We're gonna get ready to. We ain't got much left here. Just a couple of things. Okay, we got a complaint form. I mean, I didn't get a complaint form. I got a complaint from Tommy Baker across the road. Says he wanted his ditch cleaned out. I went over and looked. I don't really see where it's should be a problem. Water still running across it. Them pine needles, they gonna drop. But I'm giving it to the boys. And right here at the corner of Wickerson and Haslip Street, the corner's washing off where the water comes across, and it needs some attention to it. So if you guys would, I did tell the gentleman on that corner that I presented to the board, and you guys can go by and look, and we'll make a decision at the next meeting if you wanna do a little, I really think this up here on this corner needs fixing. It's
It's bad.
What's the corner?
you know, Haslip right here when you turn
Oh,
up
Haslip
Haslip, and the
and
first,
Wilkerson.
going back, right there on
You're
the
right.
corner.
It,
I mean, it looked like somebody threw those blocks in there and
Yeah.
stuff, but it's in pretty rough shape. And I think that if we put a cover in there, connected to the cover, come from across the street and let it go down the ditch a ways and then backfill it and look.
Yeah, I think it would be good.
fix it. But that's for you guys. We'll take that up at the next meeting.
And you said
And
Tommy Baker in front of.
right
Tommy?
across the street. Okay. And one other thing, got two other things. One, I'll get back to Miss Bailey here in a minute, but the other thing is Shelter and Tree Ranch. Is everybody familiar with Shelter and Tree Ranch?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so David Burrows called me, and they're gonna have a big bike ride. It's gonna be October the 8th, and they'll be going through from, I believe he told me from the airport in Savannah down through by Bass Spring, back up through Saltillo, and then Savannah and through Shiloh and back through Pickwick and back. I forget how many miles he said, about 40 miles, I believe. But he would like for him to stop at Saltillo at the river, and he's asking the board if we would have water and some pops down there and maybe a place where they could use the bathroom.
I think that'd be good.
And he wanted to do it, he said, at the river, which, you know, I'm a little conservative now. I might not look like, but I am. But
No.
I was hoping that, and he said they was gonna come back by come back by the city hall, and they was gonna go back by here and go to Savannah. And, you know, porta potties, if you guys wanna put two down there, we can have them ordered. I mean, I don't know if they'd stop at City Hall on their way back, but they
Well,
wanna do it at the river, so.
I'd rather not be in a building where we have.
Mhm.
It's a lot
Okay.
better to have it two potties down there, and you're on the river, and we're promoting Hardin County
But now, this
tourism.
is gonna be October the 8th, so
I know,
if you
but-
wanna approve of doing that for this fundraiser, then we need to do it tonight, because the city meetings,
Yeah.
we won't
what,
have time.
what is the ride benefiting?
Shelter and Tree.
Shelter.
It's for handicapped kids and
Yeah.
mental people. They got a horse therapy farm in Savannah that they
Have you ever
do.
been out there?
It's beautiful, man.
It's-
Their own
it
school,
is-
they got their own school.
Yeah, they got a school. but-
It is.
I've done a lot of the chapel services for them.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
But now, I told him,
Well-
I told David that I'd present it to the board because I wanted it to
Are
be
you saying David Burgess?
Barrel.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know him.
but he's over it.
Do we need to make a motion
Yes.
or discussion about
With
providing them with the
water.
two porta
and-
potties
that's
and
right.
having water and sodas down there?
Right, we do.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we provide the two porta potties, and I'll be glad to work with that and to have water and pumps and
Okay.
what have you
You got it.
down there. Okay, for October 22nd. I'll make a
No,
motion.
October the 8th.
October 8th.
I mean, October
And
8th.
he wasn't sure what time that'd be. He said between 10 and 11 o'clock.
It don't matter.
But I've got his number right here, so you can,
Okay.
I'll give it to you. And
But
you can.
I made a
But now,
motion, so
she's
you
made a
gotta-
motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
second by Alderman Reed. Alderman Billings, vote.
Yes.
Alderman Morgan.
Yes.
Alderman Reed.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Wood.
Yes,
Okay, so Ms. Wood, what I'm gonna do, I told David I would, actually, I know I graduated with David Barris, but he's dead, so this is one of his family members, but I don't know this young man here.
do you have his phone number?
I do, I'm gonna give you
Okay.
his phone number, and then I'm gonna let you call him,
Contact him.
and you can take it over from this point. You can just tell him that, hey, the mayor got it approved, and
Okay,
then,
I need to be the one to call to get in the bathroom?
yes, ma'am. Or you can
Okay.
get Nathan.
I can do that.
You'll get the bathroom?
I'll take care of the
Okay.
body here.
And I'll get the,
We've got water and pots in there. Hey, Kenny, we still get some of that water over at the fire station, okay, a couple cases of that water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what was that lady that come once to the doctor's office? They had brought about 40 cases of water, and we didn't have no place, so we put it in the fire department, but you probably won't need, but I think he said it'd probably be about 50 riders.
okay,
But he's
I can
hoping-
take care of that.
We
I'll
only
take
need
care of
just
that.
water and stuff like that.
So, it'll be October the 8th between 10 and 11,
Yeah,
okay,
and I've got his number here for you.
all right, I'll do
Okay,
that.
now, I did give this is the last thing on the thing for tonight, and then, I did give the complaint form from Miss Bailey to the fire chief, and, so he's reviewing them, but, in between that, I think that I did go down and talk to Miss Bailey. She called me on the phone, asked me if I come down because she had watched the video, and her and Sam both, and she wants to be in compliance. And so I think they did a lot of cleanup down there today. And, he said.
Did they move the trailer?
He's gonna move it in the next 2 or 3 days. He said he was gonna move it today and it rained. He told me, I was in Nashville, but he called me on the phone and said, Mary, it rained. I was down here with my machine to dig up some of this brush, and he said, but now the city needs to understand though that it is a construction site. But he is gonna move the trailer within the next week or so. He said, just soon as where he can get it out, he's gonna move it. But now, as far as, the complaint, I'm just addressing that part. But the chief right there, so I handed it over to him. I don't know if he's evaluated or looked at it or what, but, now with what Ronnie Neal says at MTAS, it's out of my hands, so it's up to the chief now. I'll give y'all a minute if you got any questions to the chief to pertain to that. If not, we'll go ahead and move to adjourn.
One thing, he was working on one month before last. Have you got any further on the one that you were working on?
My day job has had me slammed, and I hadn't had time to look at that property at all. As far as Miss Bailey, I know it's being worked on, and they're attending to it.
Well,
Yeah.
they haven't worked on that property for several months. In fact, the scaffolding
Well, they're
is falling
working.
against the
Now, I was
glass.
down-
It's
I
really
was-
sad. I was
that-
afraid something was gonna
Well,
break.
I was down there, she called me last week, I believe it was, and I was down there, and they was down there working. Actually, they had the central heat and air guy down there,
Oh,
and
good.
he was getting ready to put the ductwork in it.
Good.
So they are working on it, and, I did talk with Sam. Sam is the contractor, and he told me they was cleaning up down there today. It rained, but he's going, tomorrow he'll clean it up a little more, but they're trying to.
What about
So,
did he make mention of the hole in the ground?
Well, no.
The deep hole in the ground, or he didn't mention any of that?
No, because now that's actually on the backside of her property.
Well, it's just
And
that.
you have to be trespassing to go back there.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying, but it's like, she's got a fence around her pool, which is great and wonderful. But to have a big vat of water,
They got a purpose for that, I think. I don't know what they're gonna do back there, but I'm sure they'll get to that too, Ms. Colonel. But right now, that's not visible from the road.
no, it's not.
You
No,
can't
it's
see it
not.
from the road.
Right.
It's on her property, and
Right.
actually,
It's
if
just it's
I mean,
just
if
a
somebody go
danger.
back and, well, if they go back and fall in it, that's her liability. They ain't got
Yes,
nothing to do with us,
right.
because it's on private property. And if a person go back there meddling in that hole, they actually trespass.
Well, you don't know about children, but.
Well, that's true, but, okay, so, now we got the Shelter and Tree Ranch, and we've got all this, so Kenneth, you satisfied with what they're working on down there now, right? Okay, so if the board ain't got any other questions for Chief Young, let me make sure I covered everything. The covers, the billing for that, the banners and everything, so. Okay, now we're not gonna have another meeting for River Day for the city, so is there anything the River Day committee, Alderman Reeves, that we need to present to the board?
Let me think. We've got just about every basis covered, I think. Mayor,
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know, I'm just,
I think the last meeting we had, everything was pretty well checked off.
You know, because we're not doing beer. You know, our
Not doing
vendor,
what?
we're not doing beer, our vendor backed out,
Okay, when is River Day?
24th.
24th.
What's the location?
Yeah, we did vote to keep it at the park.
that's going,
Up here,
Well,
The community
school
center.
park, the city park?
and y'all prepared to do it up there?
we got a fallback plan. So,
Well, ain't no fallback plan, if it's up there, it's up there.
well, we understand that some things have to be done to make sure that's ready. So, I mean, I was outvoted, so.
I don't know how you gonna pull that off, really. I'm telling you, we got all the electricity down here and we could've pulled the stage right behind the police department. It was easy to get the bands in and out. I mean, I thought the purpose of having it up there was for the beer, and now you're not having the beer, but I believe it's gonna be real complicated up there now, I just really do. But you guys are the one that's doing it, so I'm just standing back looking, but, I think that's a bad move, but I'm gonna leave it up to the River Day Committee, okay? So, y'all the fall guys, if it don't work out, it's on y'all. But, we put all these electrical boards down here and everything, but with the beer up there, it would've been better because you could segregate people away from the activities.
Distance.
But now that you're not having it, I think it would've been a heck, cause it'd be easier, I mean, everything is set up down here, we know how to work it. Okay, so is there any other discussion from the board? Now Nathan, River Day's on you now.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so is there any discussion? If not, I'll allow the audience, does anybody have anything they'd like to reference the board? Okay, none. One other thing, I've been getting a lot of calls about, crossing the red shed, and I'll say that to the people that see this video, that Stephen did talk to the DA, and that's freedom of speech. City can't do nothing about that, and we can't do nothing about that. And, he wasn't sure, but he did talk to the people, and they did say that it was their freedom of speech, and he called the DA, and the DA said the same thing. I guess, just goes to show you that we got a lot of people, different people that move into town, and we got different backgrounds, different attitudes and stuff, and so that's why you have different stuff, zoning, planning, different stuff in your town to where you can try to regulate, as to how your town operates and how it appears to the public, so, but, I don't know in the future. I will talk to the planner. I did tell them I would talk to the planner. A lot of towns, they have, I mean, I know in Jackson, you can't put furniture in your carport if it's visible from the street. You can't put a car in the grass, if it's not, you know, even if it's running, so I don't know if it's something in planning and zoning. Now, we couldn't do nothing about that, no way, but we could pass ordinance to where in the future that we could control something like that, you know, so I don't know, but, now, if you guys want me to call the planner and ask him, I will. If you don't, we'll just leave it alone. But I'll ask him anyway, because I'd like to know myself. It don't hurt to ask.
I
You
mean,
don't
we
know
put,
enough.
we put, political signs in our yard.
True, that's right. So you really can't do nothing about it.
I think we need to be careful of that slippery slope.
Well, we're not gonna pursue it anyway.
Right, but
No.
I don't think that,
It ain't, I mean, you know, just think, a couple more months, it'll be Christmas trees.
well, it'll be Halloween before then.
That's right, true that. Yeah, and that's about as bad.
I know.
Yeah, now,
Some
I
people
guess
don't
that's,
like Halloween.
well, I'm one of them, you know, I think that's devil worship.
Yeah, I know, a lot of people do.
But still, though, they do it, so it's same difference. Okay, board, so if y'all don't have any other discussion, and people in the community, if y'all don't have anything you'd like to ask or have any input, then we're gonna have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Motion, second,
I second.
meeting adjourned.